Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the IFB Industries Limited Q1 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Nirmal Bang Equities Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Chirag Muchala from Nirmal Bang Equities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Nirmal Bang Equities welcomes you all to the Q1 FY21 earnings conference call of IFB Industries Limited. The management is represented by Mr. Prabir Chatterjee, Director and CFO, Mr. Raj Shankar Ray, CEO, Home Appliances Division, Mr. Arup Das, Head Marketing Engineering Division, and Mr. Anand Reddy, CEO, Motor Division. I now hand over the call to the management for their opening remarks, post which we can take questions from participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chirag. Good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you all for the IFB Industries Investors Call for the first quarter FY21. I hope all of you and your families are well and safe and healthy. We have with us Mr. Ray, CEO, Home Appliance Division, Mr. Arup Das, Head of Engineering, and Mr. Anand Reddy, CEO of Motor Division. All of us are really passing through an extremely difficult time, and health worries are there with all of us. After initial period of lockdown, recovery expectations are building up. With the gradual resumptions of operations, plans have started, though challenges still exist. However, uncertainty due to intermittent lockdown and containment zone in various areas affected revenues, manufacturing and supply. Supply constraint and safe distancing, etc., is still creating an area of issues in terms of productivity. As far as the result goes, during this quarter, April was completely washed out and gradually picked up in May. June was better for Appliance Division, but sales in Fine Banking Division was low during June also. The company has reported a total income of 200 crore, growth of 58.2% over the same quarter last year. This is mainly due to closure of factories on account of lockdown. EBITDA margin stood at minus 10.3%, which is also very low again due to low revenue. But going forward, we observe in July, the demand trend, however, now is encouraging. And with this, I will request you to start the question and answer session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask questions may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star and 1. A reminder to participants, to ask questions, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. The first question is from the line of Aviral Jain from SG India. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. I had a question on the Appliances Division, especially the recent DC plant has gotten commissioned. So what sort of return on investment are you targeting, and there must be some internal benchmarks that the company would be working with, and would there be any gestation period in achieving that particular benchmark in terms of timeline? 2 years, 3 years?
Raj, will you answer please?
That are done are between a 2 to 3 year kind of a payback period. We expect the AC project to pay back over a 3-year period. if you see, originally the plant was supposed to start in January and have some volumes through this season period that has gone by. Because of the COVID-related issues and firstly the people for the machine installation not coming and then the lockdown period, the plant has not been able to produce much through the season and it is now basically ramping up, which means that the first season where the plant will really see significant volumes will be, let's say, from November 20 onwards when the season starts building up. We expect to retain our guidance of a 3-year payback on the project.
And this would be...
Does that answer your question?
Yes. And when you say payback, this will be incremental profits or say EBITDA that you would generate over and above the trading margins that you already had on AC. This is really additional.
If you recall, what we had also shared is that actually on air conditioner trading we were losing money, and that was because the duty structure increased and we were unable to pass it on to the market, including the forex related changes. So we were actually losing money on this. With the project now localized, we will make money, and the project on a standalone basis will have a 3-year payback.
Okay. And sir, my second question was purely in terms of gross margins that the various products in the home appliances divisions have. So can you give us a ballpark estimate of own products, say a front loading washing machine and top loading? Would it be fair to say the gross margins would be in excess of 50% on those? And this is net of the schemes and discounts. And what would be the gross margins on AC till the time it was a trading product?
I will explain this. This is Probir Chatterjee. We normally do not give any guidance on the margin, on any, whether it is product basis or overall. But we will only say that normally what we have observed, that the manufacturing products have higher margin than the trading. And like Mr. Ray explained, it's one of the reasons that why we came out of trading and went into manufacturing, with the increase in the import duty and the exchange rate fluctuation which is going up year on year. Those are the two things. But I can only say that if this thing gross margin will improve substantially.
Yeah. Sure, sir, I understand. So my question was more on, say, FY19 or FY20 numbers, as in what sort of delta would be there in gross margins between manufactured products on appliances side and traded products? Some ballpark estimate, as in of the past.
No, that is what I'm saying, that we normally do not give any guidance in terms of specific figures, whether as a whole or estimate this thing. I will only say that there will be substantial increase.
Okay. So let me put it the other way. So with AC being manufactured in-house, the realized gross margin should be significantly better than what they have been in the last 2-3 years.
Yes. Rakshankar, yes, significantly better, yes.
Okay. So that's it from my side, sir. If I have further questions, I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Srinath V from Bellwether Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, Raj. Just wanted to get an update on the dishwasher business. How have we done in Q1? What kind of growths have we done in Q1, and how are the availability of the product? And given how the demand is planning out, do we have alternate suppliers, or are we looking to assemble this product? Or if this product category could scale to 3-4 lakhs at sector aggregate levels, how would we be prepared to kind of look at this opportunity?
Okay, so as far as the demand is concerned, we have been short of dishwashers from roughly about early June, and somewhere around end of June we switched to advance booking. These were 75-80% bookings by end customers, not channel bookings per se. If you look at the situation in July and also going forward, we are still short of supplies from the order book that we have. Now, what we have done is that we have ramped up production at the supplier end, but our understanding is that this sort of a tight situation of supply versus the demand, we think is going to continue up to December. So what our calculations are showing is that if we put the channel demand and what the individual customers have booked, material will keep coming and material will keep being delivered to customers, but there will remain a shortage right up to December. As far as the figures are concerned, if you look at July and what we expect going forward, there is at least anywhere between 5 to 8 times increase based on what we are seeing now. Now, how long this sustains, we have to wait and see.
But from a sourcing point of view, given that there's been a kind of constraint, how does one work through this? Have we looked at alternative arrangements, and could we assemble part of it, or how is the way forward if this demand, not to the extent where it is now, say even if it sustains at 20-30% lower, would mean the category would become significantly larger than what it was a couple of years back, right?
Yes, that's right. So as far as we are concerned, at this point in time, we have not looked at adding a source or changing a source, primarily because of product quality, performance issues. That shift is never easy, including the fact that we, commit spares over a 10-year period. So right now we are working with the supplier in terms of their ramping up, and of course they have demand from everywhere. As of now, we don't foresee a situation of us doing some sort of a assembly operation or a manufacturing operation here in India. Your point that if this, let's say, becomes a 200,000, 300,000 per annum category, at that point, yes, it will justify an investment, but we have not had any internal discussions on this as of now. What we see over the next 12 to 18 months basically is the return primarily focused on the AC investment we've made, including the rest of the work that we have on the other products on the channel side.
Cool. Just wanted to find out about the AC business. Whatever channel checks we've done, July seems to have gone well with about 5 lakh sales at the aggregate level. So, and given that we have been very aggressive in the online channel or always had a good online channel contribution, just wanted to understand how the AC business is playing out both on IFB's brands as well as white label brands, as we may be also selling into customers who are operating in the online space.
So we have not put our ACs yet on the online space because we wanted to introduce them primarily to the offline channel initially. So we are not there online with the products that are now being manufactured. As far as our supplies to online brands, etc. are concerned, that discussion, as we had shared previously, is ongoing, and we expect it to conclude in this quarter.
Okay, just one data point. If you could give me the online sale for the quarter, I'll get back to the question, please.
Would you connect with Mr. Chatterjee and take those figures separately?
This quarter was around 26%.
Thanks a lot. I'll get back in the question. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ridhima Chanda from Roha Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. My question is on the washing machine side. So currently, we are facing some supply chain issues due to this pandemic, and the demand is more than the supply. So how the situation currently is there, and how it would be panning out in the next few months, in both top load and front load?
Yes. So for our front loads and top loads, for both, we have seen a significant rise in demand. And what the issues that we've had on the supply side have been of two types. One has been the suppliers and a lot of them in the containment zones and red zones, and they've had or they still have a very large struggle with manning. So maybe about 60-70% of the suppliers are operating with maybe 50 to 60% manning. So there has been a constraint as far as the supply side is concerned. In our own manufacturing facility also we've had issues because of the COVID cases around in Goa, and also because of the physical distancing norms that we put in place. So how we are handling it currently is that we have spread out manufacturing over a 3-shift basis, which is assembly operations, basic manufacturing operations over 2 shifts, and some of the more critical operations over a 3 shift. So we are raising volumes while keeping people separated. And similar things are being done at the supplier end, where they have moved into 3-shift operation. Based on the order book that we have for washing machines, which is front load, top load both, we expect to be stressed in supplies for August as well as September. And somewhere around mid-October, I think things will normalize. But right now, whatever we are producing is short of demand. And looking at the order book that we have, the next 2.5 months is going to be tight.
Okay, so what is our current utilization in both top load and front load?
No, so if you see in a normal situation, we are able to do, let's say, 4,500 washing machines a day. Currently, we are doing about 2,500, which we will raise back to a level of 3,500 to 4,000. But the gap that has emerged over the last, let's say, 50, 60 days, in terms of the rise in the demand and the fact that we have not been able to fulfill it, and ramping it up over the next 40, 50 days, this 2.5-3 month period is going to be a stress period.
Okay.
In a normal situation, we don't have a capacity constraint, so we are okay. But currently, yes, we are tight.
Okay. In terms of so that means that by the mid of the October, we can come to the normal level of 4,000 or 4,500 machines per day. We are expecting. Right?
Yeah, maybe we will come to that sort of a level earlier than October.
Okay.
But there is already an unfulfilled pipeline which is quite high. So between, let's say, an order today where earlier we would have fulfilled in 2 days, 3 days, now we are fulfilling in 10 days, 12 days. So there is a stretch. That stretch, I think, will remain through to October.
Okay. And in this, so my next question is on the sourcing side. So in the washing machine category, how much is component sourcing from the China?
So I can give you the total import value.
Okay.
Import value is about 30 to 35% as far as the washers is concerned.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lakshmi Narayan from ICICI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. First is that in terms of our washers, what's the capacity and how much it can actually be flexible to expand in the same place?
Sorry, could you just repeat that, please? The voice was a little...
I want to understand what is the capacity of washers for us, front load and top load.
Yeah, so our capacity is 600,000 for washers, which is stretchable in the season period by another, let us say, 20 to 30,000 in a month. And as far as the top loads are concerned, our capacity is 300,000, which is also stretchable by adding additional shifts, etc., when required in season.
Okay. And last year, what's the kind of what's the kind of volume you made in front load and top load?
Would you take that from Mr. Chatterjee separately?
Yes, you take it from me separately, please.
Okay, sir. So my other question is that from the motors point of view for washers, right? Do we manufacture it within, right? Almost everything, or do we outsource it?
Anand, would you want to answer that, please?
Yes. See, we do manufacture the motors in our Bangalore plant, and it's 100% service to our washing machine division.
Okay, which means that your entire sourcing of your motors is internal.
Except BLDC motors, almost 97 to 98% of the motor requirement is serviced by our internal manufacturing unit.
And is it also kind of ramped up to the capacity that you will not face any constraints like your Bangalore? Because I found that you had actually sold a part of your Bangalore land to So do you have capacity to expand in Bangalore in case if there is a constraint in, if you want to expand?
Anand, do I answer this?
Yes, please.
See, the land that you have given, that was given only to Metro Rail actually. It is the front part of the office. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
It has not affected any of the manufacturing facility. That is part of the Metro Railway requirement because Bangalore Metro Railway is coming up. So we had to give up some of the land as per the statutory requirement from the front, which has not affected the manufacturing capacity.
Got it. So then on the air conditioners, our total capacity is what, and we also want to do some white labeling, right? Can you just explain what is the capacity for air conditioners?
So the capacity that has been put in place now is 500,000 per annum, and this is stretchable with some minor changes, etc., up to 600,000 per annum. And what we had explained is that our intent is that over the next 12 to 18 months, our own domestic sales under the IFB brand goes to about 250 to 300,000 per annum, and that leaves 50% of the capacity, which we would like to use by tying up with 2 or 3 strategic partners. This is the approach that we have for the ACs as on date.
Okay. Now, in terms of AC, there have been some challenges there are some duty structure changes and compressors of ACs are in general imported, and Delhi and others don't have the requisite capacity. How are you thinking about compressors for AC?
So currently the source that we are buying the compressors from was already in a project to set up a factory in Pune. That project was supposed to go live in September, but because of the delays and issues, etc., our understanding is that the project will probably take till about February or March. That is one source of sizable scale. And then there is a second source which set up base in Gujarat a few years back, which has reached a capacity of roughly about 2 million air conditioning compressors per annum. Now, our understanding is that over time, both these sources have the ability to ramp up, and we are talking to both. So I would expect that by, let us say, early next year or mid of next year latest, the compressors would have been resourced into India from the current import status.
Got it. So, and you will have some kind of an exclusive tie-up that they will not give this capacity to somebody else. They would actually allocate something for you, right?
Yeah. So what happens is that the IFB compressor will have its own tuning, and it will have its own quality specifications for the product that we are producing. So in the discussions with the suppliers, the capacity for IFB will be tied up and locked, and that is a discussion that we have already had. So the supplier would then probably talk to other companies as well, and it will create its own, capacity based on the customers that it is getting. So that is something that I would assume any supplier will do.
Got it. And one last thing on the import content of ACs, what is it now, and what is your plan for FY21 end exit and FY22 exit?
Could you just repeat that? I missed the first part of the question.
I just want to understand what is the current import content in AC, which includes plastic, compressors, and outside units, etc. And then what is the exit target for you, like towards the end of this financial year? What is the import content?
Yeah. So as of April 20, the import content was at about 65%. By the end of the fiscal year, we expect it to go down to about 30%.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from Manoj Goria from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So sorry I was late to join the call and I missed most of the things. So can you throw some light at what volumes would we be able to break even at our RAC plant through our own brand, and what's the status on the discussions that we were having with other brands to as a OEM supplier?
So the air conditioning plant in the beginning had a break-even of roughly about 200,000. All ACs put together. Okay. And by the time we finish a material cost reduction, import substitution project, that will come down to roughly about 120,000, 130,000, the break-even. As far as the discussions with the partners is concerned, they are at a final stage, and in this quarter, I would expect everything to be concluded.
Right, sir. So when you look at these partners, so what would be the combined market share would be just to gauge the opportunity for you?
Manoj, I don't have the exact data, but I'm just giving you an estimate. With the people that we are talking at the final stage, I think all of them put together, they would have at least maybe 40 odd % of the market.
Okay. That's pretty sizable in size. So, sir, in this case, when you look at, you are obviously looking at better quality products and premium end. So, obviously, even for these clients, it would be more towards on the premium end?
Yes, correct. Yes. So, we would not address the entire 40%, for example. That point you are making is absolutely correct. Yeah. But they would have a range of products, and there is a particular size of that 40% in which IFB products will be absolutely fit, and that is what they're evaluating.
Right, sir. So lastly, if you look at on the core business like washing machines and all, so currently how the things have been shaping up, you would have definitely commented, but I would request you to please repeat your views, like how the things are panning out, especially in July, and how the sales have been on YOY comparison.
So the demand is very healthy. And in July we had shortage of a sizable extent. That shortage in terms of our inability to supply the demand has increased in August for the first 15 odd days. The way this demand has risen, and if you look at some of the analytics behind it, it appears that it is not a short-term phenomenon. The kind of customers who are buying or the segments that are opening up look to be different from earlier. So I think this demand growth will sustain. Now, where it settles down, I think only time will tell. Nobody can really predict, but it is not going to go back to the previous levels. It is going to end at least 50-60% higher. This is our estimate.
Right, and this is for washing machines, right?
This is for washing machines. Dishwashers we have just discussed that the spike is very high. Even for clothes dryers, we are seeing a significant spike.
So you are able to source the material from China for the dishwashers and everything?
The dishwashers for us come from Turkey.
Okay.
Right now we are struggling to fulfill demand, and we were asked a question just a while back on dishwashers. And I replied that we think to fulfill the order book and the way the demand is rising, I think it will be November or early December by the time this stabilizes, because it is rising very rapidly.
Yeah. Sir, if you can shortly answer, you took a lot of price rationalization measures during the quarter. So what portion you believe like should be retained and others would be coming back obviously because of the higher volumes? So, and what were the initiatives? That's also.
So, like we have shared the previous time, there were initiatives on two heads. On the fixed cost side, in terms of rentals, warehousing spaces, structural costs of employees in terms of what sort of numbers we have to cover, what sort of network. This was one part. That part is almost complete, so the effects of that will come in July, August, September onwards. And the other is a very significant material cost reduction, basically, through renegotiation, resourcing, and also value engineering, which we started in mid-May. And that exercise will go right up to March. The complete thing will be done in this fiscal year, but obviously it will come through the fiscal year. It will not come immediately. So the full impact will probably come in February or March, and there will be steps in between.
So it would be a gradual improvement in at least at the gross level. And sir, lastly, so should we expect like July, August, September, looking at where we are sitting today, should be a very normal quarter for us?
Yeah, so touch wood, my answer would be yes. I just hope that there are no new surprises on the COVID front because,
right.
You don't know where it's coming from basically. So I just hope that it sort of stays the way it is now. If it stays the way it is now, yes, it will be a normal 3 months.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So that's also will join back the queue. And thanks a lot and wish you all the best, sir.
Thanks, Manoj.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from Rahul Gajare from Haitong Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Sir, I have some questions on the dishwasher space basically. Could you tell me, what is the size of the industry in terms of both value and volume in India, and how do you see this particular space evolving, say, over the next 3 to 5 years?
So if you go by the import data, then pre-COVID time, the size of this industry was somewhere in the range of 30 to 50,000 dishwashers per year. I think tending more towards 30, 35, 40,000 dishwashers a year. If you look at what is happening now, then the multiples are anywhere between 5 to 8 times the way I just mentioned a little while back. Right. So I don't think you could really make an estimate of the industry now because the demand is not fulfilled. So you really don't know where this will go. It's going to take a few months for it to sort of come to a stable level, but it will be significantly higher than before. If you want a value estimate, then you could multiply the unit market size by roughly about 30,000-35,000 rupees per dishwasher, then you'd come to a figure.
Sure. Okay. So the second thing is, could you comment on the competitive intensity in this particular space? Now I understand, obviously because of the COVID situation, I think most of the players are out of stock on dishwashers. But typically, how has been the competitive intensity, and what is your market share in this category? And together, top 3 or top 5 players, how much market share do they have?
So I think the top 3 players probably have 85% between them. Our market share estimate based on internal data is roughly in the range of 35%. And competitive intensity is low in this category as on date.
Okay, so there is no pricing pressure and all in this space?
No, as of now, there are people who have introduced products basically at very low price points and so on. But this is a product which is not a price-basis product. I mean, the reason people go into this are the price, I think, is maybe the 4th or 5th parameter.
Okay.
So here it is more about value, performance, feedback. consumables are a very important part of this category, and a lot of customers pay attention to who is going to be able to supply consumables and so on. So,
Sure.
right?
Okay. Sir, just connected with this same thing, in this entire industry of dishwasher, does technology play a very important role? Is it that, these machines keep on evolving after every few years? I'm sure, there must be a R rating element over here also. I'm not very sure about that. But is the technology keeps on changing? Does that what happen in this industry?
Oh yes, it is a technology product, and some of the areas where a lot of work, for example, a lot of work that ISB has done with the suppliers, energy efficiency is a very important area. And then the second is that if you look at the range of Indian utensils, they range from very deep draw utensils to the typical simple plates that you have. The Indian turmeric and masala sticks to dishes like nothing in the world. So the method by which you wash and the temperatures at which you wash and the cycles that you have, that's a constant area of product development basically. And for ISB, because ISB also supplies the consumables to customers, which are the detergents and the rinses and the salt. Having the detergent and salt and rinse capability for the various levels of hardness of water across India is again a very big area of development for ISB. So there are three areas of development for a player like ISB.
Okay. So my last part of the question, actually the dishwashing industry is fairly small even in China. Typically, now that this entire Atmanirbhar Bharat things are going on, what do you think will be the volume that actually will justify local manufacturing? Obviously, profitable local manufacturing, for the industry to get to.
So I don't know about the industry, but for someone like an ISB, for example, if the volumes were in the range of 350,000, that would justify a good investment into this.
Okay, fair enough. That actually is very helpful.
But this figure I'm giving you is just off the cuff estimate. There are no details in the calculations behind this yet.
Yes. So I mean, anywhere between 350 to maybe 500,000 kind of capacity would be required to look at local manufacturing.
Yes, that's right. So that's why this industry in the immediate future is going to remain an important industry.
Okay. Right, sir. Thank you very much. That is very helpful.
Thank you. The next question is from Lakshmi Narayan from ICICI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you. One question regarding your, what's the kind of steady cash flow from operations you actually would target? Because if you look at last year and the previous year on a standalone basis, it's around 125 to 130 crores, right? So, and then the second part is that what kind of capital expenditure you would like to incur? Because last year it was around 200 odd crores. So just want to understand what is the steady state cash flow from operations and capital expenditure one can assume.
I will answer this. This is Probhi Chatterjee. CapEx actually cycle is more or less over for us. Now CapEx, whatever we'll be doing, mostly it is the routine CapEx, which as and when it comes, we decide. I don't think altogether it will be more than 30 to 40 crores for the company as a whole. Number one. And regarding cash flow, it totally entirely depends upon the business that we will do, because as of now things have started looking up. But we will see August, September, like Mr. Ray said, that we are expecting normalization by October. After that, things are well, and the AC also starts selling well from, let's say, December, January. Things will improve reasonably. That is what I will say as of now.
Got it. And so from the fine blank components, right? And what do you intend to allocate any capital towards that in the next 1 or 2 years on the automotive and the fine blanking side?
Arup, please answer.
Actually, we are. This is Arup here. We are already done with the capex, and capacities are already in place. So we don't see any big capex in coming 2-3 years. But small capexes here or there may be required. But no big capexes are planned for next 2 to 3 years at least.
Even in auto also. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And in your statement of accounts, you had something called accessories and additives, which you actually do a stock in trade, right? Which is around 200 crores or so. Now, what are these accessories and additives?
So 200 crores is too high a figure. We don't sell so high. So this is actually, I'll tell you, accessories are, the trolleys, then the bag, and all those things. And the other thing is additive, which is the washing powder, liquid detergent, then Febo, descale for the machine. Those are the things.
What is accessories, sir, here?
Accessories like a trolley. Trolley, cover, aqua filter.
Okay. And this is something which we trade, and it was sizable of around 200 crores. That's the reason for the question. And another thing in terms of your annual maintenance service contract, right? Which comes to around 72 crores odd. What kind of cost you actually incur for that? That's the broad, maintenance service contract income. What is the allocated cost for that? Just trying to understand what is the margin.
The last year was around 71 plus crores.
What is the cost of it? Sorry?
One is, material, depending upon the kind of defect this thing is there, material requirement. Then there is a cost of that you pay to franchisees for the repair, depending upon the major fault, minor fault. These are the major two expenditures. And all actually. And
what is the approximate EBIT you generate from this?
We have good margin there, but I will not again, like I say, normally we don't talk about margin specifically. But this business has one.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Srinath V from Bellwether Capital. Please go ahead. Mr. Srinath from Bellwether, you may go ahead with the question.
Hi. Just wanted to understand, for a previous question, you had said that there seems to be a study done on the demand, and the patterns of demand have kind of changed, and therefore there's this feeling that this demand is going to last a bit longer. Just wanted to understand, what has the study kind of brought out? If you could kind of give a flavor of what have been the buying pattern changes on a very broad brush. Is it on demography or outside top cities? Or just want to understand what is giving you this confidence on the demand from a consumer demand pattern perspective.
Yeah, so I can give you three elements which would sort of indicate that this is not a short-term thing. The first is that there is a relationship between the actual purchase and searches on the net, and searches are up significantly. So, typically in an off-season period, searches for a category would increase by 30%, 40%. Now the kind of search increases are in the range of 250-350%. So the volume of people searching for products in this space has significantly gone up. So it doesn't appear to be a short-term rise. This is the first element. The second element is that even though most of the large cities are under lockdown and the basic purchase level is low, but the overall demand is high, and this is because Tier 2 and Tier 3 has significantly risen. And any rise from Tier 2 and Tier 3 is basically is a long-term thing. It's not a short-term thing. That's what we have seen earlier as well. And the third element is that the amount of exchange sales has increased. So I think intuitively people at home using a machine and then having problems and saying that, okay, now this is 10 years old and why don't we change? And the washing machine was never the center of attraction at home, for example. Dishwashing was never a thing to do and pay serious attention to. So I think what has happened is that because many members of the family have got involved over the last 4-5 months in these activities, a corollary is that we are seeing a lot of exchanges and upgrades being done. So when I said that, I personally don't see this sort of flattening out, and even if it does, it will be at a level much higher. It's these three elements. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah. Just one more on that. We got some channel check done that in South India, the conversion, or there's been a migration to front load from top load in the fully automatic space at a faster clip. Just wanted your views on that.
I actually think that it's risen for both front load and top load both. We haven't specifically seen an additional front load spike, but we are short on both categories heavily. So I think if we are able to supply in full, then we can start sort of analyzing these patterns.
In the last
from our
call,
point of view, yeah, sorry.
No, in the last call you had said demand was outstripping supply by 150 to 200%. Is that trend still continuing in both the front load and the top load spaces?
In the front load and top load spaces, the demand is outstripping by roughly about 80 to 100% now. Dishwashers, of course, is much more. Microwaves is also around the 100-120% mark. Gas is also roughly about 60-70%.
Thanks a lot. It was very, very informative.
Thank you. The next question is from Ridhima Chandak from Roha Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is on the microwave side. So in that segment also, are we facing supply issues as demand is high as of now?
Yes, we have supply issues and we expect to stabilize by early October.
Okay, so in this, what is the total market size in the microwaves, and who are the competitive players in this segment specifically?
So the market size is roughly about 900,000 to 1 million. And LG, Samsung, IFB, these are the three main players. And then there are others as well. Basically.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Disha Sheth from Anvil Shares. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, when you said the demand is very strong in coming months, so can you just put a number like in July, how much has demand, like year-on-year sales have up by 40%, 50%?
Would you take this from Mr. Chatterjee separately? In terms of
Disha, I will talk to you separately, please. Okay.
Okay. And sir, in terms when you said that Q2 should be normal, you meant that in terms of margin, it should be back to the 5-7% level, considering the heavy sales we have.
We don't give a specific guidance. Mr. Chatterjee, would you like to answer this, please?
No, see, I will see. Like she said that we don't give any guidance, but see, if normalized, the margin would be definitely better. But the only one thing is that this time Diwali is in October, not in this quarter. Understood? But otherwise, July, August, September sale is expected to be good, subject to that we are not further affected by COVID related issues in terms of lockdown, supply issues, and other things.
Okay. And sir, in terms of engineering division, can you throw some light on the sales? Are we back to the pre-COVID level since things are picking up at OEM levels now?
Arup, I will take this question. Since June, because up to April there was lockdown, and from June second week, the OEMs have started manufacturing or increasing their productions. And July, it increased. And the quarter going forward, quarter two looks to be back to the same level which it was in the previous year. So we expect to see similar sort of demand level which we had in the previous year.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And sir, in terms of home appliances and market share, have we gained over last 2 years in terms of front loading particular and top loaders also?
So we are more or less stable over the last 2 years, basically. There are some accounts in which we've lost. Our IB points have risen in sales. So net of our internal estimate is that we are more or less the same.
Okay. And sir, when you said 35% market share, that is for front loaders, right?
Sorry?
When you mentioned 35% market share in washers, that is for front loader?
No, I mentioned that for dishwashers. In front loaders, our internal estimate, because the external surveys don't really cover a huge part of our sales. Our estimate is roughly around 40% in front loaders. And in top loaders, if you put all fully automatic top loaders together, we are about 8.5%.
Okay. And sir, when we said that online is around 20-25% of our sales, general trade would be the rest, right? And the IB points would be how much?
IB point is around 15%. But now the e-commerce sales is little higher because of this period. Otherwise, it is around 15 to 20%.
Okay. Okay, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amish Thakkar from SG India. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks a lot for taking my question. So I just want to understand the engineering division, both on two-wheeler side and four-wheeler side. What are the kind of components do we supply, and is there a concentration, with respect to any of the clients, OEMs that we supply to, top 3 to 5 clients, how much of two-wheelers and how much of two-wheelers revenue will be coming from them? And similarly, is there a concentration to a type of models, like higher cc bikes or certain type of passenger vehicles?
I will take this question. This is Arup Das. Answering your first question is how we are skewed towards the OEMs. As far as our turnover is concerned, the biggest manufacturer of two-wheeler is Hero MotoCorp. So naturally, the numbers with them will be higher. The turnover will be higher with respect to others. But as far as all the two-wheeler OEMs are concerned, we are supplying to all of them. Now, coming to your second question is what sort of components? We are into brake, engine, transmission. So we are into the main component arena of two-wheelers. As far as our going forward, our business in the BS6, we have been able to grab all the BS6 products which falls in our category. So we expect to fare well with as the numbers grow.
Okay, and do we have any concentration to, let's say, a higher cc bikes, where they require some components?
There was one part of the question which I had missed as far as the percentage of turnover is concerned. Because the two-wheeler, if you see, in this post-COVID scenario, the two-wheeler sales has grown much more than the four-wheeler. So our segmental pie, if you see, it will be more skewed towards the two-wheeler compared to the four-wheeler.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aviral Jain from SG India. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I just had a follow-up question on the engineering division. So my question was that roughly how many SKUs across OEMs that we supply in the engineering division, and what would be the share of, say, top 10 SKUs or top 50 SKUs as a percentage of overall sales for the engineering division? And secondly, we have not attended previous calls. The company's growth in the engineering division has been very, very fantastic. However, the end industry, the automobile industry, has not grown over the last 4-5 years. So what is it that the company is doing differently, and how is it gaining share from other component suppliers?
So this is Arup here. I will bifurcate your question into 3 parts. Your first question is how we are managing the growth in spite of the industry not doing well, automotive industry, for the last 2-3 years. So basically, we tried to be there where we were not there. So in the process, what has happened is, there were companies where we were not present. So whatever share of business we could manage there added to the top line. In spite of the market not growing, those additional businesses increased the revenue. So that was one thing. Second point was, we have gone into, there were certain businesses which we were not getting because we didn't have the conventional stamping products in our forte. So what we did is, we, as a downstream, we went and acquired the stamping business, which became a complement of the fine blanking. So then what had happened, previously customers were saying, you will only give fine blank, who will give the conventional product. So now it has become together as a product portfolio, the conventional stamping has also got added. So these certain activities which we did in the downstream helped to maintain our top line in spite of the automotive industry not doing so well. But going forward, we feel the automotive industry will, because there is a pent-up demand which for the last 2 years been fructified, will increase. Of course, in the two-wheeler segment it will be more, and in the auto four-wheeler segment it will be the lower end segment, not the higher end segment.
Okay. And sir, in terms of SKU concentration,
see, as far as concentration is concerned, our intent, our objective is not to increase the total turnover of any company more than 15 to 18% of the total turnover.
Okay. And in terms of product?
Product means, as I told the earlier question, that we are in the product that is engine, transmission, brakes, and all. So that product is the face. So in that category, we are playing around.
And would it be fair to say our product suite will get affected? Say, for example, 5 years down the line, 50% of the industry in four-wheelers and also in two-wheelers move to electric vehicles. So would we more into motors in that scenario, or there would still be a lot of application of fine blank and conventional stamping products?
I think my colleague Anand, who is from the motor division, will answer this question. Anand?
Yeah. See, regarding e-vehicle motors, we are developing e-vehicle motors for two-wheeler application and three-wheeler application right now. And it should be fully developed within the next 12 to 18 months time.
Okay.
So I think that answers your question. So whatever loss of business happens on account of elimination of the sheet metal parts will get compensated by the motor, because motor is a very high value component. So it compensates that loss of business on account of elimination of sheet metal parts.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for answering my question.
Thank you. We have one last question in the queue. We take the last question from the line of Lakshmi Narayanan from ICICI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks again. Sir, in terms of the total employee base, you have around 2,300 permanent employees. How much, can you just split that between the appliances division and the non-appliances division?
I will tell you separately.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference back to Mr. Chirag Muchhala for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. We thank the management for taking time out and sharing their valuable insights on this call. And we also thank all the participants for their presence. So do you have any closing remarks?
No, thank you. I will thank everybody for joining the call.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Nirmal Bang Equities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.